Welcome to First Time Watching. We're back for 28 years later. Revenge of the Dong? No, that's not it. The Boner Temple. Sorry, the Bone Temple. This is the second installment in what's planned to be a trilogy. I'll get into the drama about that during the explanation of the ending after the movie recap. So please like, subscribe, and hype the video as we dive in. Jimmy Crystal wants to see if young Spike has it in him to become a finger, for which he has to win a fight to the death against Shite. Spike pulls down his pants and stabs one of the arteries in his leg, and then he dies. And by winning the fight, he officially is a Jimmy, and they give him a blonde wig. Dr. Kelson goes to the train where the zombie mommy delivered her baby in the first movie to collect the body, all while the alpha zombie is eating some brain, and he can hear Kelson singing in the distance. The big guy tries to sneak up on the doctor, so he shoots him with the blow dart to tranquilize him. He named the big guy Samson. He rids him of all the arrows that are stuck in him and then leaves him behind unharmed. Kelson goes back to his home near the Skull Towers to do some research. That next day, he waits for Samson to show up again. He gets his dart ready and waits, but today he doesn't charge. So Kelson signs for him to come closer. He chose to trust him. Samson stops and lets Kelson sedate him. They sit together and Kelson tries to see if he understands what he is saying, if he can speak for himself. Today is the day to trust a brain-eating zombie, so he drugs himself and lays down next to the alpha. When he wakes back up, he is still alive, and Samson is gone. This means there is still somewhat of a conscious inside Samson. The next day, Samson shows up again, and Kelson and Samson sit together again. They even dance together. But then, a little time later, humans hunt in the woods nearby. The old geezer engages the zombie, which warns the others, so the young ones start running. Grandpa quickly gets overpowered and turns into one of those brain-nibbling bastards. The two others make it back to their little town with the bad news, but they have guests. The Jimmies have invited themselves into their little settlement. It looks like Spike doesn't really fit in with the cult he's decided to join. The people make it very clear that Jimmy and the Fingers aren't welcome. She asks if they are going to leave. Jimmy tells them yes, right after they kill them. So the fighting starts, and a pregnant woman escapes. Jimmy commands Jemima to go and hunt her down. Kelson is once again hanging out with his good friend Samson, and as he dances and sings, it's like Samson can remember the music. Jemima is watching him from the distance. She can't believe what she is seeing. Meanwhile, Jimmy Crystal is preaching mass in front of their captives. He bestows upon them a charitable act in name of his father, Saint Nick. They receive the removal of the shirt, which means the Jimmies remove the skin from their stomachs. Spike can't do it, and he walks outside to puke. Jemima returns and tells Spike he has to toughen up because this is what they do. That night, Kelson and Samson have a sleepover, but Kelson has some bad news. He is running low on morphine, so this dance they are doing is about to end in less than 2 weeks. There is something he can offer him instead. It's a different kind of peace. He can offer him lasting peace, just as Kelson wants to take Samson's life. He says the word moon. The alpha can speak. The Jimmies are just about done with taking the skin off of the poor townspeople, except for one. Jimmy tells him he needs strong fingers, so this guy should choose one of the Jimmies to fight, and if he wins, he'll call him Jimmy, but if he loses, he gets charity like the others. He understands. He picks the thin little Jemima to fight. She is happy to be challenged and unties him. He gets a dagger and charges at her, but she is a skilled fighter and easily overpowers him. Jimmy Crystal grants her charity. She is planning to rip the skin off of his dingling when a hook lands in the back of her head. The Prego Townie was hiding and has killed her. While the Jimmies try to catch her, the guy crawls towards a gas can and lights it ablaze. He burns another one of the Jimmies and then gets shot. Spike and Jemima get spooked when their burning cult members leave the barn. The pregnant woman escapes through the back. Jimmy Crystal commands Spike to go and catch her. He runs after her with his bow and corners the poor defenseless woman, but he is no killer and asks her to please take him with her. He no longer wants to be a part of the Fingers. She walks up to him, hits him in his stomach, and runs off. Spike returns and lies. He tells Jimmy that he killed her, but Crystal does not believe a single word of what the young boy is saying. Jimmy Crystal wants to call upon old Nick to ask for judgment. Jemima agrees, but she thinks they should see Nick in person. She saw him. He has orange skin and this palace of bones. He even had an alpha at his feet sitting like a lamb. Jimmy Crystal has to see this for himself. That next morning, the Jimmies look at Kelson from a distance. Crystal confirms that they are indeed looking at old Nick. He is clearly talking out of his ass and tries to keep some distance between the Fingers and Kelson. He wants to talk to him alone first. So Jimmy approaches the Skull Tower and finds Kelson. He asks him if he's old Nick. Kelson tells him he isn't. He figures out that with old Nick, he means Satan, and he can see that with the Oompa Loompa skin, he might be confused, but he is no demon. Kelson quickly deduces that Jimmy is a Satanist while he is an atheist himself, and that while he believes in the zombie virus and all, Jimmy thinks it's one of Satan's tricks. Jimmy is relieved because he thought he was about to meet his father. He can hear his father in his head all the time, but he never really sees him. Meanwhile, Spike tries to convince Jemima that the geezer might not be old Nick, but just some dude. She doesn't believe him. She thinks the man is really old Nick, but there is a thing that she wants to know. Is Sir Lord Jimmy Crystal really Satan's son, or is he lying to them? She thinks Jimmy is full of shite. She is convinced Sir Jimmy has never seen the Palace of Bones in his life. Meanwhile, Jimmy wants to know what Kelson knows of the times before the world went to shit. Kelson quickly finds out that Jimmy was the son of the church's vicar. The last thing Jimmy remembers about his father is that he led the zombie charge. He was the one leading the army. And then he saw Kelson, and now both of them are in a bit of a pickle because Jimmy told his fingers that the man he's about to see is old Nick. And if Kelson isn't convincing them about this, then he will have to kill him instead. So, since Kelson doesn't have much of a choice, he agrees. Jimmy goes back to his gang of losers to tell them they are about to meet old Nick tomorrow. They can't touch him or talk to him, but they should be honored. All while Kelson speaks with Samson. Since his time might be up, Kelson has to speed up his scientific process. He believes the infected are affected psychiatrically to make them see their prey differently, because why else would they, for example, attack a baby? A baby gives no reason to hurt it, so they must be seeing something, and he plans to treat Samson's psychosis. Spike wakes up before the others and quietly sneaks away. One of the Jimmys wakes up as he leaves. A zombie charges at him, and the Jimmy catches up and wants to kill him, but Jemima shows up and kills her fellow Jimmy. She begs Spike to stick with her, and they return to camp where they apologize for killing Jimmy. The next morning, Samson is washing up at the river. He is slowly turning and finds himself going towards the train where the woman had the baby. He remembers things from before he became an alpha. The other zombies close in on him. As he regains his humanity, they see him as prey again, so he has to fight them. Meanwhile, Kelson gets ready for his meeting with the Fingers. That night, Jimmy arrives with his Fingers to meet old Nick. He has set up an audio installation to amplify his voice and scare the unknowing cult members. He dances to an Iron Maiden song and shows more of his showmanship. Then he blows hallucinogenic into their faces to disorient them. Meanwhile, Samson arises from the fight. He has overpowered the zombies. As the music stops, Kelson calls on them to approach and to kneel for him, all but Jimmy Crystal. Jimmy wants to know what Nick's command for them is. He wants him to tell the Fingers to continue killing and to obey his every order, and he wants him to grow the numbers of his fingers. Kelson is disgusted by them and then recognizes Spike. He tells them to wait and approaches the boy. He tells Jimmy he has one more command. He requires a sacrifice, just like Christ. He requires his only son to be crucified. His fingers are the ones to crucify their master. Jimmy does not like this one bit, so he stabs Kelson. He commands the Jimmys to attack Jemima, but she kills both of them, and while distracted, Spike stabs Jimmy Crystal, and then Jemima knocks him out. Spike kneels next to Kelson, next to his friend. He couldn't let Spike go with them, even if it would cost him his life. Together, they crucify Jimmy Crystal before Spike and Jemima, whose real name is Kelly, walk off together. Samson returns, and Kelson calls him over. Samson thanks Kelson for helping him regain his humanity. As Samson takes Kelson's body and walks off, Jimmy calls out Father, believing he has forsaken him, and then some random infected attacks him. Sometime later, at a farm in the middle of nowhere, Jim walks in to teach his daughter Sam the world's history before the virus. She hears something outside, so they both take out their weapons and can see an army of zombies chasing two people in the distance, so they go down to help them. The big reveal at the end is that we finally see Cillian Murphy, now with the daughter he had with Selena, the other survivor from the first movie. Together, they found that little cottage in the middle of nowhere, and from a distance, they can see Spike and Kelly running from a horde of zombies. The ending clearly sets up the final installment of the trilogy, although it's surprisingly hard to find any concrete information about it. From what we do know, Sony has reportedly greenlit the third film. However, filming can only take place during the summer because of the location. On top of that, Murphy is already in talks to shoot another movie this year, which complicates things. If production gets pushed back a year, Alfie Williams, who plays Spike, will be noticeably older. But honestly, that's always been the risk with the deals Sony structured around these films. What is confirmed is that Kelson has figured out a way to cure the zombie virus and make people fully immune to it. The only problem is that Kelson just got stabbed and is bleeding out, and Samson has no real way to save him. The only possible solution might be to infect Kelson and then use the lab to cure him afterward, allowing him to replicate the treatment and potentially save the world. Jimmy is either dead or infected. The fingers are gone, and the ending leaves us with a massive setup. Now we just have to wait and see if we'll actually get the conclusion. And that's a wrap. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.